Hello everyone, welcome back to my Flutter channel. Today I will be teaching you all buttons in Flutter. First of all, let's get started. First, let's make a new Dart file. Let's give this Dart file the name Dart1, and inside it let's bring out our live template. In the first step, I'll tell you about the flat button in Flutter. The flat button in Flutter does not have any decorations or an outline. It can be placed inside our Flutter widgets. Now we'll go inside the children widget and place a Flutter button inside it, a flat button inside it. We say flat button, and it has a onPress function property where we can give it a onPress function. Now we will give a child to our flat button. We can place a child inside the child property. We can give it a new text. The text will be saying click me, and we can give it a text color as colors.blue. And we can give it a color for the background as colors.green accent. We can also give a padding for our flat button. We say padding, and inside we say edgeinsets.all 12.0. Now our flat button has been made. Before showing it inside our device, I show you another button in Flutter. We can have the RaisedButton. It also has a place for an onPress function where we can give a function for it, which will execute when we click it. Both these buttons are deprecated. That's why there's a line in between both of them. But even though these are deprecated, we can still use them in Flutter. The raise button has a rectangular shape and an outline, whereas the flat button does not. That's what differs the flat button from the raise button. We can give similar properties of the flat button to our raise button as well. So we'll copy all this code up till padding and paste it inside the raise button. And let's change its text color to colors.green and its background color to colors.yellow accent. And we'll make the text as click my button. Before moving on to our device and watching it in our device, I'll teach you another button in Flutter. Now I will teach you all the icon button in Flutter. We can place a icon button inside our children's widget. In the icon button, we can give it a icon as icons dot volume volume up, and we can give it a on pressed function as well, like in the previous buttons. The icon button differs from flat button and raised button because we can give it an icon that will be functioning when we click it during our work. That's why we can place the icon inside our icon button, and it can have an on pressed function as well, like in the previous buttons. It is not deprecated and it can be used in Flutter wherever you want. Now I'll teach you some other properties in the icon button. Now we will give another property to our icon button. We can say icon size and give it a size of our choice. I'll give it 100, and you can give it a tooltip as well. The tooltip is a message that will be printed right below our button. For it, I will say raise the volume to 50%. Now we will give a padding for it as in the previous buttons. We'll copy this and paste it here, and inside we can give a color for our icon. We can say color and colors dot brown as the color. Now all our three buttons are complete. Before going to other buttons, let's see this inside our phone. Now we must run our application. For that, let's click the run button. And let's wait till our application builds. I'll join you after it builds. Now as you can see here, our application has been built, and these are the three buttons that we have made so far. The first click me is the flat button, the click my button is the raised button, and the volume up button is the icon button that we made so far. Alright, let's move on to another lesson right now. Now I will teach you another button in Flutter. This time I will teach you the floating action button in Flutter. This is a circular button which can be placed in the bottom of our application, and this is one of the most commonly used buttons in Flutter. Okay, let's get started. After the icon button we say floating action button, and it also has a on press function where we can give a function that works when we click it. Now let's give an icon for our floating action button. For this we have to place a child inside our floating action button. A child with icon and icons dot navigation. And also we can give a background color for our floating action button. We'll give it a colors dot yellow accent, and we can give a foreground color for our button. We say foreground color and give colors dot pink. Now our floating action button has been made, and let's check it inside our application, inside our device. Alright, let's run this and check our output. I'll meet you after the application builds up. Now, as you can see, we have made our floating action button, which has a foreground of red and a background of yellow. This is how this button can be made inside our Flutter application. You can place it anywhere you like. And let's move on to another button in Flutter. Now let's make another button in Flutter. We call this the InkWell Button. For it we can give a splash color as colors.yellow accent, and as a child we can give it an icon. Icons.ring volume, ring volume, and we can give it a highlight color as well. We can give the highlight color as colors.red accent. And we can give it a on-tap function as well. We say on-tap and we can give it a function for it. Now our InkWell button has been made. Let's run our application and see our output. I'll see you all when the application is built. Well, I forgot to give a icon size for our child icon in the InkWell button. Let's give it an icon now. Icon size now. We say size and we type 100. And we'll place a size box here before the InkWell button, and the height of it will be 20.20. Now let's run this and check our output once again. Well, what the size box does, it gives a little space between our widgets. That's why I used it to give a little space between the floating action button and the InkWell button. Now let's see our output on our phone. Whoa! As you can see here, we got our InkWell button placed inside our application. It's nicely placed inside our application, so we can click it and give it an on-tap function as well. Now let's move on to another button in Flutter. Now let's learn a similar button in Flutter. Let's learn about the outline button. The outline button is like the FlatButton, but it has a rounded border around it. That's why it differs from the FlatButton in Flutter. Okay, let's have flat outline button now. Outline button, and inside it also we can give on pressed action and a child. For the child, we'll give a text. The text will say, click me now. Before executing this code, let's see another deprecated button which was there before, the outline button. It's named as the outline button. It also has been deprecated, but it can be used in Flutter when we code. For it also we can give a on-press action, and we can give it a highlight color as colors.green accent. And we can give it a child text also. The text will say, click me right now. Let's run this and see the output for the outlined and the outline buttons. Now, as you can see, we have placed our two buttons right under the other buttons we made. The outline button is there and the outline button is also there. We can give functions for all these buttons. And now let's learn another button in Flutter. First of all, let's go to the code. Now let's learn some other buttons in Flutter, the newest material buttons in Flutter. The FlatButton has been replaced now by the TextButton. It also has a onPress function, and we can give a text as its child. We can say text, and inside we'll give it a text as submit. And now I'll teach you another button that replaces the raised button. The elevated button has replaced the raised button in Flutter as of now. It also can have a onPress function. It can also have onPress function and a child as a text. We'll give its text as login. Now I will show you the text button and elevated button in our application on our phone. Let's build our application and see it right now. I'll press on the run button and we'll come back to you after it is finished. Now our application has been built. We can see our submit text button and our elevated text button login here in our phone. That's how these buttons work in Flutter. I have taught you 9 Flutter buttons so far. I'll be teaching you all 2 more buttons, 2 more important buttons in the next lecture. I'll see you in the next lecture. Until then, goodbye guys, and thank you.